You will have noticed the batch plotting dialog box that keeps popping up when you want to plot in AutoCAD. The one that I've told you before in previous videos, you can tick the box and it won't show it again. Now, batch plotting is an excellent tool when you're working with multiple layouts in an AutoCAD drawing. So we're staying in the 15 creating output.dwg file. And what we're going to do, we're going to do some batch plotting. Now, the easiest way to do this is to go to the Output tab on the ribbon, and you'll see that we have a batch plot icon in the plot panel. So I click on batch plot, and it opens up the Publish dialog box, because you are publishing your layouts. Now, there's a lot of information on this dialog box, and you'll notice right down at the bottom, you can hide details like that. So it allows me to sort of bring the Publish dialog down like that. Now, I'll look at the details bit in a moment at the bottom of the dialog box. Let's look at the top first. So there is a sheet list here that allows me to save to what they call a DSD file, which is a drawing sheet description file. And I'm going to publish to the plotter named in the page setup. So here's my files that I'm going to actually plot. Now, these are basically the tabs in my drawing. So the actual model tab there, I don't actually need. So what I can do is I can click on this icon here and remove that from the list. Now the nice thing is you can see that my page setups are there, A1 landscape page setup. And if I just go across a little bit, can you see I've got a status there that tells me no errors? So they're obviously going to plot okay. Now I can rename these. I can select this here. And what I can do now is I can right click and I can actually rename the sheet. It will still keep the same drawing name and tab name, but I'm renaming the sheet in the Publish dialog box. So what I'm going to do is call this 001 dot and then General Arrangement. Like that. Press Enter and it's renamed. Now this is Staircase A, so I'll click on this one, right click, and I'll rename the sheet again. And this will be 002 dot space and then Staircase A, like so. And that's the lovely thing about this publishing tool, is it allows me to rename the sheets, check the page setup, check that everything's okay. So what I can do now up here is I can save this as a DSD file. Now it'll prompt me where to save it. Now I'm not too worried about where it's going to save at the moment. So you can see I've got 15 creating output DSD and it's my drawing set description file. Now I'm not actually going to save it this time. I am actually going to cancel it. I don't need to save it. I'm just showing you that you have the ability to save those settings so that you don't have to keep setting them up each time. This includes the renaming of the sheets here. Now you can specify your location where the publishing is going to go to. So that might be a server location, it might be a cloud location, and so on and so forth. So let's move the dialog box up a little bit now. And what I'll do now is I'll click on the Show Details bit at the bottom. Now there's a lot of information here. Here's all the selected sheet details. So this tells me all about the sheet. So there's Staircase A selected. There's all the information there. I can also specify the number of copies. I can also include a plot stamp. So if I tick that box there and click on this icon here, it opens up my plot stamp settings. So I can include things like drawing name, layout name, date and time. These are quite important when you're doing contractual plots to perhaps a deadline or a keystone or a milestone in a project. You can show all of the information and you can perhaps have it running down the side of the sheet or the bottom of the sheet. The plot stamp parameter file, if I load that up, that is either going to be, if I scroll down, inches or millimeters. I'm using metric, so it'll be that one. I click on open and it applies that to the plot stamp. If I go to advanced, that allows me to go in and edit the properties of the plot stamp. So I can specify where it's going to go. I can specify things like the font, the height, single line plot stamp, units, and so on. Now, I'm not going to go in and set all of the plot stamp. I could do that, but I'm just showing you that it's there in case you need to place it on one of your plots. So I'll click on cancel, and I'll click on cancel again, and I'm back into the publish dialog. Now, the other thing that is a really, really nice feature in batch plotting and publishing is publish in background. That means that it does all the plotting in the background and frees up your AutoCAD to allow you to continue drafting. In the old days, you couldn't do that. It took up your AutoCAD and you had to wait until the plotting was finished. You couldn't actually use AutoCAD while it was plotting. So that's a really, really nice feature. I always keep that ticked. I'll just switch off the plot stamp there. And the other thing, you can open it in a viewer when done. Now, you can use something like Autodesk Design Review, which is still available. It's quite an old piece of software now. It's a few versions old now. And what you can do is in Design Review, if you've got it installed, just tick the Open in Viewer when done, and that will open up DWF files. Now, the plotter I've got named in my page setups is the DWF. If it was PDF, it would obviously open up in Acrobat Reader if the Open in Viewer when done was ticked. So once you've got all that information set up, I can just hit the Publish button and off I go to publish. Now, I'm not going to do that in this particular case, but obviously I can if I want to. So what will happen is if I click on Publish like that, like so, it prompts me, do I want to save the list of sheets? So the answer there is yes, I probably would. And if I tick there, it'll always perform my current choice, which is a really nice feature because as soon as I click on Publish, it saves the list of sheets without asking me. So there's some really nice features in there for batch plotting. And this is the Publish dialog box. So you can set it all up, save your DSD, your drawing set description, with all your settings, so you don't have to keep revisiting the Publish dialog box all the time. And then once you're done, you just hit the Publish button, does it all in the background, and you get a little bubble pop up in the bottom right corner letting you know when the publishing's done. It's that simple. So that's batch plotting in AutoCAD 2017.